Good afternoon or good morning to everyone. This is Tom Lane with DM2. I'm the VP of Sales, and I'd like to welcome you all to our EES and Sage CRM webcast. Today presenting will be Julia Stegman, the VP of Channel Sales for Sage, and Debbie Hill, a sales engineer for Sage Software. Before I hand it over to Julia and Debbie, I'd just like to make a few comments. Because of the number of people on the webinar, we do have everyone muted, but if you notice, there is a chat window that you can type in any questions during the course of the webinar. And towards the end of the webinar, if those questions haven't been answered, we'll take some time to answer those. In the event that we don't get to them all, we'll send everybody a follow-up message with all the answers included. We are going to be recording this session, so afterwards I'll send out a link to everyone who's attended so they can review the recording and/or share it with anyone else in their company. And on that note, I'd like to turn it over to Julia Stegman, the VP of Channel Sales for Sage Software.
Thank you, Tom. I'd like to take a moment to welcome all of you to the webcast today. Sage has a long-standing partnership with DM2, and we believe you've chosen an outstanding solution provider. They really care about their clients. So thank you for being our clients. We hope you enjoy the webcast today. And I'm going to turn it over to Debbie Hill for the presentation. Debbie?
Great. Thanks, Julia. And again, welcome everyone. So just like Julia mentioned, my name is Debbie Hill, and I've been working with DM2 for all the 7 years that I've been here at Sage. So again, just to reiterate, you've got a really great partner, really great resource in your corner there. So for today's agenda, here's what we're going to cover. First of all, I want to answer a question about what the Extended Enterprise Suite is. We'll go over all the included functionality and what that really means as the whole customer experience. So when you manage your customers and their whole experience with deals. The majority of today we will spend in the demonstration, and then at the end there we've got some contacts information, and we will open it up for questions. Like Tom mentioned, though, right now everyone's been muted to prevent any background noise, but there is that chat feature in your GoToMeeting window. So go ahead and please feel free to type any questions there. One more housekeeping item, if that GoToWebinar window is taking up too much real estate on your monitor, there's a tiny red arrow on the upper left-hand side. You can click that arrow and it'll shrink that box down for you. All right, so let's answer this first question here. What is the Extended Enterprise Suite? This is an end-to-end approach for all of your software needs. So with the DM2 packages you own, with all of your accounting packages, now we can integrate all of your customer issues, your Outlook, any piece of software that you're currently using for your day-to-day activities. We need to make sure all of that is accessing the same information. So for example, whether you have quantity of oil that's going out on a truck to a specific customer, or whether someone on the back office is receiving an invoice and that price has changed, regardless of what's happening to your product, where it's moving in and out, everyone needs access to that same product information. So when we go with this end-to-end approach, regardless of which employee is responsible, they're all pulling data from the same centralized location. And I'm sure you can think of specific examples where someone was using outdated information or perhaps different information. Maybe you're using some spreadsheets for some of this activity. So what we want to do with the Extended Enterprise Suite is bring everyone and all your data into one shared repository. So when we talk about the functionality that's included, you're already familiar with your MAS and your DM2 system. So all the existing functionality that you already have, that's all going to transfer over, that's all going to operate the same. And in addition, if you take a look at all of the products on the left-hand side, that's what is also included in the suite. So the most important item that we're going to cover today is that customer relationship management, that very first line. The second line is fixed assets, and although we won't get into those details today, definitely reach out to DM2. Let us know if there is a need to track assets, because this is another program that will enable you to have a lot more free time and really just stay compliant with all government regulations. It abides by all, I believe there's 300,000 different tax and depreciation laws. So basically this component of this suite that's included will help you maintain all of that regulation automatically again. So hopefully by now you've taken a look through that whole list of what's included, and also on the other side what's available for purchase. But again, anything you currently own, anything from DM2 or either list, it's all going to roll up over. So now let's talk about the theory behind the customer experience and the extended enterprise suite. We want to, again, streamline your critical business processes. We want to keep everything in one location so everyone's accessing the same data set. But we also, with the CRM component, again, that customer relationship management, we want to manage the entire customer experience. And you know, when you call a company and they pull up your record and they remember what you've ordered, whether it's Amazon or anything online, or maybe it's a store you go to frequently, it's always great when they know who you are, when you were last there, and what products you've purchased. So when it comes to managing your customer's experience, we want to give them that same attention. So when it comes down to it, we've got 3 different pillars, and this will be a terminology that we're going to use for the presentation and the demonstration, but please know that the terminology can be changed to match your business. So this is just an overview, again, how we're going to go through the demonstration. When it comes to the customer experience, we've got 3 pillars here. And this is designed to involve every single communication and point of contact. So we start with marketing, and that is anything that's the first point of contact. So if you're attending trade shows, perhaps you have a competitor that went out of business and you get their client list. Perhaps your purchasing list from Sales Genie. However you decide to get your contacts, that's the first touch point, and that's what we're going to call marketing, the marketing pillar. As we'll see in the demonstration, you can use this marketing pillar for so much more, but again, we're just defining some of the terminology here. The second pillar is the sales. Now this is anything from relationship building to product analysis to checking up to make sure that they might be moving enough fuel, perhaps they're not moving enough lube, anything that involves the sales cycle, the sales process, all that relationship building, that's what we're going to put in the sales pillar. Now finally, the third component here is support, and that's anything that's post-sale. So if there are service contracts, perhaps there's trucks or machinery that needs to be serviced or cleaned, this is not going to be initially revenue generating. This is the customer service team, customer satisfaction issues. That's everything, again, that's not involving revenue, and it's also for existing customers, so it's nothing on the marketing side. So just so we've got an understanding of those 3 pillars, and again, terminology is different with all organizations. This product can be or will be implemented to match your business process. So again, please, if you have different terminology, just know we can change that for you. So with that, all of these different pillars, every instance and every interaction will have some form of communication, whether it's an email, a phone call, a meeting, a delivery, perhaps a lunch, anything that you communicate, anytime you talk to your customers, it's going to fall into one of these pillars. So with the entire customer experience, we're going to make sure all of this is tracked, all of this is maintained, and it's all in one correct location. All right, so now that we know what the Extended Enterprise Suite is, functionality you get, and what our goal is to achieve here with the whole customer experience, let's take a look at the demonstration. And here's our little outline for the demonstration so we can get a good flow of what's going to happen. First, I'm going to introduce you to the desktop, some of the navigation options, just so we know what we're looking at. Then we're going to go into the day in the life of the Extended Enterprise Suite user. So I'm going to use an acronym, if you don't mind. It's EES, and that just includes the entire suite. So any piece of software that you'll see during the demonstration is part of EES, except for the PowerPoint template. So then we're going to start with our marketing component, just like you do in real life. From that very first contact, it's done through a marketing activity. We're going to nurture that marketing lead. It'll be a prospect. We'll do some quoting for that prospect, because that's what we do. We build the relationship, we send out some quotes, and then finally we'll promote that to a customer. That's going to be a really big component of the demonstration, because as we talk about having a suite, having a fully integrated end-to-end product, having all that data in one location, this is where the whole end-to-end really comes into play. So we'll spend a lot of time there. Then we'll do our post-sale support, like we talked about, any sort of servicing requirements. And then I really want to show the managerial visibility tools that you have, and how once everyone is not only using the same data, but using the same system, just how streamlined and smooth the operation can be. So with that, let's go to our desktop here. All right, so I'll give the screens a few seconds to refresh. And you should be now looking at the Sage CRM Desktop. Now again, I said I start with the introduction. So real quick, we're looking at this from a browser option. You can see the address up here. But you can also view this exact same, everything we're going to see today, you can view it from within this browser. You can view it from within your Mass desktop, or you can view it from within your Outlook. So we'll see a couple of things go back and forth and a couple examples of that. And again, user-defined, user preferences, everyone operates differently. So we want to make sure that the users are adopting the system and starting to use the system. And again, DM2 has a lot of different tips and tricks when it comes to adoption rate and utilization of the tool. So having those three options, browser-based, Outlook, or Mass, 99% of your staff is using one of those methods for some sort of daily task. So we can really just slip Sage CRM in there quickly and easily. So what we have, a couple different navigation options. Over here, we've got your back and forth arrows, just like the internet. You've got your recent, so any sort of companies, anything that you've accessed most recently will pop up there. You've got all of your quick find options. You can quickly find anything in the system. You can quickly create anything new in the system. And then we have our dashboard where we can put all of our most frequently accessed items. So for example, I'm on Google a lot, researching companies, researching industries. So I put my Google search bar here just so I can actually quickly launch Google searches straight from my desktop. The other things I have listed on the dashboard, again, just things that I access frequently. We've got our list of opportunities. We've got our graphical options, our favorite reports. But you can have multiple dashboards per user, and this is going to come in really handy if you have management over multiple divisions, multiple departments. For example, I might want to look at my team information. This is my sales dashboard. Say I want to look at my support dashboard. Again, anything post-sale. I want to take a look at all of the service calls that are going out. And again, on my support department, I've opted to put my top stories and my NASDAQ up there. So I just want to make this clear that the dashboard is designed to make easy access to your most frequently used information. And this is all heightened security. Right now, we're logged in as the administrator, so I have access to everything. You'll notice this is the tabbed approach, the same approach that we take with mass and the mass screens. Got your main screen, and everything moves along in a tab. I've turned everything on just so we can see the options through the demonstration. However, keep in mind, it's more than anyone would use on their day-to-day activity. If they don't have access to it, they won't see it. And we can clean it up so they, if they don't want access to it or if they don't need to use it, we can clean all that up. So we'll go back to our main dashboard. Now, the next tab I have here is for the calendar. And this is going to be really important when it comes to time and productivity management. As you know, it's very important for us to manage our days so we know what exactly we can fit in the day and what needs to get accomplished during the day. Now here we have our appointments, and appointments are anything that has a start time, and then your tasks and anything that has a due date. Now this is also completely integrated with Outlook. So whether I put an appointment in CRM or whether I put one in Outlook, it's going to show up in both locations. Same thing with those tasks. Now the best part about using the Extended Enterprise Suite is from, again, a management perspective, you can assign tasks, you can assign appointments, and you can monitor the progress. So you can actually see who's getting their appointments done. You can see who is powering through those tasks, making those calls, doing those services, and you have metrics that you can measure throughout. So when it comes, again, everyone's using Outlook now. So we hop over to our calendar here. We've got a list of all of the same thing, all the appointments. If we open an appointment here, you'll notice it's a little different layout. It's actually bringing in all the CRM detail. So in addition to just creating appointments, it's going to track this on the company page, and again, giving you that visibility where you can see exactly how efficient the employees are being. Okay, so that's some of the tools within the productivity and time management side. But now let's go back to that day in the life, where we're going to start with the whole customer experience, from the time you market to them, from the time you start building that relationship, doing the quotes, and again, turning them into your lifelong customers. So for marketing, I did mention there's a number of different options, a number of different methods for marketing as well. We've got, obviously, using your website. Some of you may have websites where you can get contact information. There's also marketing methods of emails, doing drip marketing. And then there's the tried and tested call lists and outbound cold calling. So whatever your method may be, perhaps you're looking to do new methods. You can absolutely use this tool to do that. Again, this is how you generate new license revenue. This is how you get new customers in the door and increase your sales, is from marketing. So we want to make sure we do have some in place. Now, I have a little few boxes here. How this would work to gain leads from your website, we would just say, try and use my creativity here. We'll say it's Frank's Lube, and he's looking for some information. And he goes to your website and fills us out. You'll get a little message, thank you. And this is one way, again, using marketing. Now, the reason why I've done this is because this information is completely integrated with your CRM. So just like we're using that whole end-to-end solution, we want to make sure nothing's falling through the cracks, nothing is getting missed, and our customer is always in constant contact with us. Now, if you're currently using other third-party products, perhaps you're using Communicator or Constant Contact, there are a lot of marketing products out there. Those as well are completely, you can completely integrate those with your CRM system. So just keep in mind the whole idea and the whole message here is everything's integrated all in one location. So now we've got that lead in the system, and now we do our nurturing. Now we do all of our relationship building. And as you know, these sales cycles can go anywhere from, if it's a quick sale, 1 or 2 weeks, up to 1 or 2 years. A lot of those big distributors, those long-term relationships you're going to build, it might take a long time. Also, if you did have a relationship and they ended up going with a competitor, say that relationship falls through or they want to come back to you. So you always keep your information clean, you always keep it up to date, and you always make sure that it's being utilized. So we've got our marketing component. Here's Frank's loop straight from the website into your database, and again, you start building that relationship, etc. Now, I don't want to get too detailed into workflow because this is tailored on each user's experience. So depending on what your current business process is, depending on what your sales process, your lead workflow, whatever you're doing now, when you go to DM2 for the implementation, we're going to clean that up, streamline it, and make sure that it really works for you, the personality types that you have, and the people in your organization. So again, we want to make this software easy to use and really get that adoption rate. All right, so from the lead perspective, we've got all of Frank's details, and this was all captured from the website. Now, I do want to point out, we were talking about marketing. Let's hop back to our Outlook, and I've set up a little drip marketing campaign. Actually, we might have to wait just a few seconds. When the emails pop up, we'll hop back over. So marketing, a few ways to get information into the system. You can manually enter it, you can import it, or you can use your website to capture it. All right, so let's take a look at one of our prospects here. I have Euro Oil, and this is a prospect. You'll notice there's a lot of free real estate here where you can have any user-defined fields that you need. We also have marked this as a prospect type. And I also know where I am right now because I've got this little company icon up top. So everything in the system is hyperlinked. You can bounce around really easily. You always know where you are. And it's, again, really user-friendly to get to where you need to be. Now, if we've been talking to Euro Oil, they're a prospect, but I'm still maintaining all my communications with them. So if we go over to communications, you'll notice it's all emails, phone calls, meetings, everything across the board. And not just with me and my team over here, but with everyone at Euro Oil. So when it comes to the communications, it's all stored in one location. Now, when it comes to emails, we get a lot of questions about management emails. Perhaps those are more sensitive. You don't want those filed. But if you have a sales rep, perhaps a outbound sales rep, inbound sales rep, you want all of those emails saved, you define how that's going to work. So that's completely up to you on how this information gets filed. I'm just telling you that it can be. So we're dealing with Euro Oil. They're a prospect. We've got some opportunities, and it can be more than one opportunity. But we're taking a look at some of the hydraulic fluid here. This is a specific opportunity we've been working. I know how many gallons that they're going for. I know the close by date, and again, any information we need to track. So here come my emails. That's what we were waiting for. What I've had done is we've got 3 emails that came up. 30, 60, and 90 days is actually technically when you do drip marketing, that's the time frame. We did it all back to back here. But just note that you can actually have a drip marketing campaign that'll send attachments automatically and communicate any way you wish to your prospects. So that was just an example of one of the marketing components. Again, trying to drum up new business here. So we've done our marketing, we've got our contacts, we're building the relationship. Now it comes time to give a quote. I go over to my quotes tab, and it looks like here's quote number 189. Well, as I'm talking, as I'm going along, there could be some changes. Obviously, there's going to be some negotiations. Say we need to actually give them a discount. So I can view the exact information. This is coming straight from our accounting system and our back-end system. Say we want to do a new quote. So we want to keep this for historical purposes. We know at Euro Oil, they want their 10% off, and we want to give that to them because we're really trying to get the business here. So I just right-click, I go to New, and Quote, and here comes my sales order entry screen. So this will look very familiar for those of you that have been on 405, or if you've already upgraded to 4.3. This will look very familiar. You've got your sales order entry screens. And we can go ahead, and we're just going to copy this from this existing order because we don't want to re-enter all of those line items. There we go. And we can pull over all that information automatically. Same rules and regulations apply. If you are going to select items, again, all this information coming directly over from MAS. Now, I'm not logged into MAS right now. I'm just logged into Sage CRM. So people, sales reps in the field, sales reps that you want to keep completely out of MAS, that have never used MAS, we can still give them access to this order entry, again, to the profit margin. If you have contract pricing for prospects, perhaps you have bulk discounts when you buy in bulk, all that's going to transfer over. If you receive some product, and again, that standard cost is going to change, or if your average cost is changing, that's reflected immediately on the sales side as well. So making sure everyone is always accessing the correct information and up-to-date information. Okay, so say we've got on some other, again, all the inventory, whether this is a little different because it's availability, but all these rules still apply depending on exactly what you need. All of the discount options, so say this is in negotiations, and we're giving a discount here. All your standard order entry process. Now this isn't a live customer just yet. It's still a prospect. So they don't exist in MAS. You won't see them from the credit and collections perspective. This is all just part of that whole trying to gain a customer. Now on the Quotes tab, again, you do have access to all the history. You can see all of the totals, what the dollar amount is, or if we're going to use the gallon amount. You've got your communications, your documents, everything that's specific to this opportunity. So we go round and round. We've agreed to the contract, and now it's time to make Euro Oil a real live customer. Now again, this is something that you're going to want to keep on lockdown. I'm logged in as the administrator, so it's very easy for me to go and promote this company to a real customer, European Oil. So I can take a look at my customer number and see if there's anything familiar already existing in my database. If there's an address, there's a phone number, it'll do the search for me, so we're keeping our database clean. We can also hit, we can hit the next account number depending on how you fill that out, but I'm going to make it special, 01 euro. Now the customer template, this will just determine some of your customer settings. For example, if they can purchase on terms, what those terms are. If they're subject to specific discount pricing, what that pricing is. If they're assigned to a specific salesperson, etc. So we're minimizing the amount of data entry. We've got everything set up front, so when it comes to utilizing the tool, all of these defaults, everything's rolling in automatically. I'm going to go ahead and accept this, and just by clicking accept, it has created Euro Oil within my MAS system, my CRM system, and it's all in one location. So if anyone needs to do a lookup on Euro Oil, you'll notice now they're a real life customer. You'll notice now what their terms code is, their terms descriptions, the salesperson, etc. So all the information is now in both locations. Same thing with the contact information. All of the people listed here are now also in MAS. All of the addresses, the ship to addresses, again, both locations, all real time. Now also what happened at that on the hour, we had this notification pop up. And we talked about the Outlook integration with appointments and tasks. This is another on-screen notification. Now this can happen for a number of different options. You can be notified when anything happens in the system. So if someone gives a discount, perhaps you want to pop up on their manager screen, hey, so-and-so is giving a 15% discount, they're only authorized for 10. So it can do sort of monitoring like that for you, but it can also be nice and friendly and do these reminders. So this is just reminding us that we had trade show leads that we were supposed to follow up on, and we haven't yet. Now, we can also take this a step further, like I mentioned before, making sure managers are aware of their sales reps activity and make sure we know everyone's getting their tasks done in a timely manner. I'm just going to dismiss that because we don't need to look at that all day. All right, so if we take a look at Euro Oil, back to our prospect that's now been automatically changed to a customer. And now, take a look at this. You've got your customer maintenance. Remember those quotes that we had in the system? Move this over for you. If we take a look, again, another really familiar screen. This is launched from within Outlook, from within the browser as well. If we look at our sales order, here's our two quotes. We've got our quote 189 and then our quote 190. This was the 10% discount. If we take a look, totals, yep, there's our 10%. And now for that whole quote to order promotion, really simple process. So we just promoted Euro Oil from a prospect to a customer. And just the same way to promote a quote to an order, really straightforward and simple. I'm going to hit accept. I get the warning, are you sure you want to convert? We say yes. And that's quite straightforward and simple. That's exactly the process, and that's how tightly integrated everything is. If we hop back to our opportunity, again, we're bouncing around, but I always know where I am because I've got my little icon up here. Dollar signs means opportunity. If we go to our quotes tab, you'll notice all the historical quotes are here. And these are just, if I filter this by all, now I can see the quotes that were declined. I can see quotes that have been converted. And you still are retaining all of that data. If we hop over to the Orders tab, we can see the order that went through and the quote that was associated with it. Now, same thing's going to happen when this gets invoiced. As soon as this is invoiced, you're still going to be able to see the past invoiced orders. So regardless of whose activity this is, if you've got the accounting team that's promoting it, regardless if you have the credit team that needs to look in and see when it was invoiced, when it was quoted, any person in any department, again, permissions pending, they can take a look and see exactly what's happening with this account. So this is our Euro Oil. Now I want to take a look at another account. Oops, I'm not going to do a new one. We're going to find our company. And say we have someone that calls in, and we're not quite sure what the company name is, what the number is. Any sort of search field has masking capabilities. And if you're looking through a list like this, we can actually drill down to the company, take a look. Oh, that's not it. Let's go back. And the list is still populated. Now, this might not seem like a big feature, but I guarantee you when you get those inbound reps that are really busy on the phones all day, they really need to retrieve information quickly and accurately. So when we talk about pulling this list using our masking, there's a couple different options we can use as well. Say we just want to find all of our customers that are in a specific city, a specific territory, a specific segment, whether it's all of your lube customers. Say you want to do a cross-sale initiative where you want to contact all of your customers that purchase lube products, but they haven't purchased petroleum products or environmental services. However you want to break it down, it's really easy to pull these kinds of lists. This is extremely simplified with the four lines here, but You get your parameters, and you click New Email, and again, we're going back to our marketing, our mass marketing. We can actually send a mass email to everyone that suits those parameters. It's all HTML enabled. You can add attachments. And when you send emails from Sage CRM, it all gets maintained in the customer's record. So you know exactly how many times this customer is being emailed, by who, and again, giving you that whole customer experience. You can see everything that's happening between you and your customer. Okay, so let's take a look again at one of our customers I wanted to find was American Oil. And just to give you an idea on how the communication filing component works. So we've got, again, oops, that's not it. Let's go back to my CRM and go back to my dashboard. Where's my company? American Lube. See, you would not forget your best customer's name in real life. So this is our best customer, American Lube. Here we are. Same thing, customer maintenance. We've got access to all the financial information. This can be permissions pending, but access all the data, all of their invoices, everything that's past due, what they've paid, all of their aging categories, etc. We can take a look here at all the communications. Now, just like Euro Oil, even though they were a prospect, you're still maintaining all this information. Same thing with American Lube, emails across the board. Now, here's some interesting emails I want to point out. These emails that went out, with these case references, this was developed because the customer sent email to support@yourdomain.com. So what we've done is, speaking of those service calls, the post-sale, anything that's after the lead and marketing piece, after you're doing the opportunity and that revenue generating piece, once it's been a long-term customer like American Lube, now you have to worry about servicing the vehicles, post-sale support, making sure that they're happy, also making sure that they might not need any services, they might need more services, they might want to increase their volumes with you. We're keeping track of all of this information. So I've set this up to where anytime American Lube sends me an email, I'm going to have one sent right back. I'm going to put them in the system so they know they're extremely important, and anytime we, again, receive communication from them, we're on top of it. So this brings us to our final component, the post-sale. Now we can take a look at the cases that are specific for American Lube, or we can take a look back at my CRM and take a look at the cases that are specific to me. So again, we're bouncing around. This is my main CRM page. Let's go to my Cases tab. And here's the progress on my cases. So if I have a number of different service calls that I need to go, perhaps there's a whole fleet of trucks that needs to be serviced, I need to make sure I'm on top of all of that. I need to know which truck is in which stage of being serviced, and I need to know what's coming down the pipe too. I need to know if I've got another fleet that's scheduled in 2 weeks, we better start hustling. I also need to know how to prioritize. Obviously, there's different ways when we all get busy. Everyone's got their different methods of prioritization. And what this suite will do is help you and your employees with that as well. Get the priorities set, get them in the software, and let the suite take care of all of those reminders, prioritization, all the admin tasks, help everyone operate a lot more efficiently. So here we've got our R.D. Johnson. Again, we've got some of the different options when it comes to case tracking. Oops. See, I know I clicked on R.D. Johnson's name. It took me straight to R.D. There we've got this information. Again, all of this is completely integrated with Mass. So if R.D., for example, at American Lube, here's some relationships, you can actually say if R.D. belongs to multiple customers. I know sometimes there are jobbers that work for multiple companies, or they have a historical past at the company. You can always keep track of that as well. So if a jobber moves around, you always know what's happening. You know that person's history. You can say, oh, I see you're no longer here. How do you like working here? Keeping that personal relationship, and again, making sure no matter where these customers work, no matter who works with your company, you've got all their information in one spot. So do that little misclick. We're going to go back. I'm actually going to take a look here at the case. Same thing, look at all this free real estate for anything you want to track. This is one of the oil products that we have a problem with. But again, all of the details, anything you need to do, this is all tracked in one location. Same thing, all the communications specific to this case, all in one location. So if there were meetings, emails, phone calls, same thing, we know exactly what's happened. So if someone steps out for the day, if someone goes on holiday for a week, the whole production's not going to come to a halt. You'll know exactly what they've scheduled, what needs to get taken care of. So a lot of, again, just keeping everyone on the same page and keeping everyone on the same information. So same thing here, we're talking about American Lube and some of their service needs. When we're looking at American Lube, we can also take a look, again, if we've done perhaps too many email campaigns to them. We can take a look and make sure if they have an outstanding service need or if they're still waiting on an environmental cleanup issue, we might want to hold off. We might want to hold off on selling them additional gallons. We might want to hold off on doing a cross-sell of products. So giving this whole 360-degree view of the customer, one location, but also 360 view of your entire organization. Again, making sure that the pricing is correct and accurate. If we've got American Lube, say someone in the back office, they don't deal with CRM, they just do perhaps something in the mailroom. Geez, apologize for that uncreative option. So let's log into Mass under Customer Maintenance, and we're going to pull in our American Lube. Let's say they go incorporated, and they change their website. I'll click Accept. Now this is real time in both directions. So if I go back to my American Lube, it's incorporated, and the website's changed right away. Same thing, just to prove that it is both ways. So we go to change our website, you save it, back to customer maintenance. Oh, there's our website. So we're not doing a data push and pull. It's not a refresh. It's not anything that needs to be, written or third party. This is all live, real time, and integrated across the board. Not just, like I said, it's not just the main information. It's all of your contacts. We've got Artie Johnson here. Notice he's in CRM. We've also got all of our ship-to addresses. Take a look at these. We go through our ship-to addresses. Oops, we only have one in there. Let's change that. Let's say ship-to. Oh, no, just one, excuse me. And we're going to relate this to CRM. We're just going to use the default numbering, but you don't have to. Now, notice the location code. This is coming up. We've got the name, the code, etc. I just want to show you some of this. That is really important, I know, when it comes to keeping all of that straight and organized. So if we go to our addresses, we do have the option of adding those fields into the addresses and into the people. So here you'll see the contact code. This is the same thing with the ship-to code. So all those mass fields, those come over into CRM. Whatever you need to track, it comes over into CRM because, again, we have an entire suite. So contact codes from mass, all that's going to come over right away. And when we talk about that implementation and the, quote, data coming over, this is something that DM2 is very well versed in. And there's a wizard-driven functionality, so it is very straightforward. You push the data from mass into the suite. Again, when you install the suite, it'll recognize the mass data. It'll all come in. And then you're live and running. It's not two different databases. It's all your mass data, all your CRM data, it's all that data in one spot. So again, quotes, customer information, addresses, people, everything, those spots all together. Okay, so the last option I wanted to talk about, that was, we talked about the marketing. We talked about, again, customers, prospect to customer, quote to order. We talked about the service calls, all of the post-sale, and monitoring the whole process, making sure everything's getting accomplished in a timely manner. And then the last component was the managerial visibility. So let's take a look on Team CRM. So again, based on permissions and users, you've got your team calendar. So if someone is out sick, you can quickly see what they're supposed to do, who's available to cover. Also, if you have some priorities that need to get accomplished, and they're not, you have a list of all of your tasks and who's doing what. Your opportunities, that's everything that's sales related. So if your salesmen are out and they're building those relationships but nothing's actually happening, those long lunches, again, all of those activities, if we're not pulling sales, we can keep a little monitor on that. Cases, again, this is everything on a team basis. All the warranty, all the service calls, all the cleanup calls, all of this can be monitored. If we want to take a look at all the calls that are currently being investigated, we can sort this list. Same thing, actually, let's talk about the sales with the opportunities. We have our gallons. Here's our forecast. If you want to take a look at all the gallons that we're going to sell where the sale's been agreed upon, you can click this and it'll forecast. We have a lot of gallons that we're selling. This is a good year. So you can, again, all these columns are user defined. Any of the information you need to pull out quickly in a way that's relative to you. DM2 knows your business, and the implementation process, what they don't know, you're going to tell them, and we'll have the system tailored, again, to meet your needs. This is a tool to help you be more efficient, help you be more accurate, and the best way to do that is to set it up the way you want. So from a management perspective, again, keeping all the data high level, really easy to see. Another fond area is reporting when it comes to management. Now reporting, if you have your crystal reports, those will show up here. If you want to create crystal reports, you can still continue to do that. But in addition, you now have your own report functionality. And you don't have to be a crystal expert to create a new report. If we want to take a look at some sales figures, you have your default reports, but you can also create a new one. And we're not going to go through this process, but I do want to show you opportunity. We're going to choose that, how easy it is. We selected opportunity. We have all these different tables, the person, all that data. If you're using user-defined fields, if you need to track oil versus lube versus environmental, we'll get all that here. You just add to content, say the account manager, that's going to be search criteria. So I can pull reports by specific manager. But notice you don't have to know crystal or file structures or coding or anything. It's point and click, and that creates your report. So we'll cancel out of that. We won't actually do that. You also have the option to select your favorite reports. Now, if I'm holding true to the use of the dashboard, which means all the information I access most frequently all in one spot, I'm going to put my favorite reports on my dashboard. So a good one is the opportunity by sales rep. Notice you can always export from CSV or to Excel. You can always export any of the information. Keep in mind when you do export information, though, it becomes stagnant, right? You're exporting it from a snapshot in time. When you have everyone utilizing the same system, when they generate reports, it's live, it's real time. So all those figures you know are accurate, correct. And if you have any calculations that need to be done, we can do them in the program. So again, when you're going through the implementation with DM2, unveil all of the spreadsheets that you're using, because we need to keep that information in one central location. That's the whole point of the suite. So if we're doing a lot of exports and we're living in spreadsheets, let's wrap that in and bring it into the suite. So there's our opportunities. We've got our pretty graph. We've got our nice list. Here's our forecasted amount of gallons. Fair enough. Some of the other ones, the cases, let's take a look at that. This is anything for the service calls, the cleanups, again, anything that's post-sale support. And another popular one here is the activities logged by user. Oops, wrong button. Activities by user. So I'm going to go ahead and do this. This is, personally, we've implemented CRM internally, and this was very fun for management to use for us on adoption rate, and again, keeping track of who's doing what. So here's some of the criteria. Again, how you search. You can search by day. This is for all reports. This is for all lists. So any sort of criteria, very easy to search for. I'm just going to use everyone though. And this tells me the different activities and who's doing what. So clearly we've got 3 people here that are ahead of the game. And I can take a look even further and say who's sending emails all the time and who's doing phone calls. And how does that relate to dollars? So, or how does that relate to the speediness, if you will, on actually getting those service calls made? So from an analytical perspective, from getting you that managerial information that you need, a whole slew of tools in your arsenal on making sure, again, that you have quick, easy access to data that allows you to make decisions and allows you to act accordingly. So we have about 7 minutes left. I do want to make sure that we have time for questions, and I do want to give you some contact information. So let's go back to the PowerPoint, and I just want to summarize what we've seen today. Oh, there we go. So we did, in summary, we got the marketing. Again, how you get data into your system, how you're going to get new customers, number of different options. We've got the prospect promotion to customer. So regardless of where this customer is and your umbrella of your organization, we're going to, from the very first greeting and the very first hello, we're going to maintain all that information, keep it all in one spot. As you start building the relationship, as you start sending out quotes, all of that's done and maintained in the same area. Now, we talked about the quotes that are integrated with your back office. I know a lot of you might be using quotes that are based out of templates, and I apologize, forgot to mention that. You can still use those templates if you want. You can continue to use those templates, and when that quote's created, it's still going to be maintained in the system just like we saw in the demo. So if you're not using that order entry screen that we went through, if you're using a template, that will operate the exact same way. That third pillar we talked about, the post-sale, that's the service calls. So we saw that pipeline. We had a few stories on when those service calls get made, who needs to be prioritized, all that information. And then finally, the managerial visibility. That was looking at some of the reports and some of the team tools. So you can look at everything from a team perspective. Speaking of teams, here's our sales team. You have Billy and Kate. If you are east of the Mississippi, then it's late in the afternoon for you. So there's Billy's information. If you're west, you're not quite pushing the end of the day yet, so you've got Kate there. And again, I've been working with both these gentlemen for many, many years. We're all here to help answer any questions you may have. And when, again, as you're going through and you're thinking about all the disparate systems that you might currently have, or all of the information that gets miscommunicated, some of the appointments that get skipped over, or things that drop through the cracks. This is what the suite is designed to do. It's designed to wrap all of that into one location, keep everything operating smoothly, so you can focus on doing your job and managing your team, managing the dollars. You don't have to worry about the details. So with that, I do want to open it up for questions. we'll just leave it on this slide for a moment because if you didn't have a chance to get Billy or Cade's information, we want to make sure you do have access to that. So Tom, are we able to open it, or should I go through the chat?
Actually, we should probably go through the chat because of the number of people that we have involved. There was one question that came in earlier asking if copies of the slides will be available after the webinar. And as I mentioned in the beginning, we did record this. We're going to be sending out a thank you message to everyone attending and include a link that will take you to our website where you can download a recording of the presentation. And that way you can share it with anyone else in your company. But if anybody has any other questions, feel free to enter them into the chat window there.
And to add to that, a lot of the examples I used today were just from some of our previous customers that from DM2 that have moved to this solution. So if your business operates a little differently, or if you want to have just a discussion on how this could work for you, absolutely reach out to Billy or Kate. We can always do another demonstration for you, perhaps more tailored to your exact needs and requests. So we're definitely all here to help get you squared away and informed.
Debbie, one of the questions that just came in is, can we print the quotes that are logged in CRM?
Oh, okay, great question. So you can, again, permissions pending, you can print them. And not only could you print them, there's also an email engine in there. So DM2 does have a paperless component piece that far extends just this functionality. But if you haven't gone quite paperless yet, and you want a little intro, you can not only print them, you can also email them. But again, if you can print them to paper, but if you are looking to go paperless, I would again reach out to Billy or Kate, because the DM2 paperless component has a lot more than just that.
One of the other questions that just came in is, what is the anticipated implementation timeline, or an average? That is hard to say. It really depends on how much of the system you want to use. We have a lot of customers that just start out with their Salesforce using it, and you get that up and running in 30 to 60 days. To implement it for the entire company obviously takes a little bit longer. One of the things that we do at DM2 is spend a lot of upfront time trying to understand what you're trying to accomplish, and then we develop the implementation plans around that. We've already implemented about 35 plus EES systems, and all of those have gone relatively smooth. And again, it really just depends on the level of usage throughout the company that you want to employ the CRM piece. Another question that came in is, can you view sales reports of existing customers?
Yes, absolutely, and that becomes obviously very important for from analysis perspective. So you can view reports for existing customers. You can view it by range of products. You can view it by dollars, or again, if you just want one single customer's listing, you can pull that report as well.
Okay, excellent. All right, we're coming up on our hour. If anyone has any additional questions, please feel free to email those to Billy or Cade, and we can follow up with you outside of the webcast to get those answered. But it looks like that's all the questions we have at the moment. I'm sure this will spark a lot of questions afterwards, so again, feel free to email them to your sales rep, and they'll either answer them directly or enlist Debbie's help to get them answered. And on that note, I want to thank everybody for attending today's webcast, and I think after today you have a much better understanding of what the Extended Enterprise Suite has to offer, and especially the Sage CRM component of that. And I also wanted to mention that DM2 Salesforce uses Sage CRM. We actually run DM2 on MAS 200, the Extended Enterprise Suite version, and all of our salespeople transitioned over from ACT, another Sage contact management or customer resource management system, and we were able to take all the history that we had accumulated over about 10 years in ACT and easily import that into Sage CRM. So we didn't lose any of the communication information or any of the customer or prospect names that we had. That all went very smoothly. And as I said, our salespeople have been using Sage CRM probably for a little over a year and a half now. So we're not only selling it, but we're using it ourselves, so that's helped us get up to speed and really understand that. And as a sales manager, I found the management visibility aspect of it that Debbie showed you really to be invaluable. It saves a lot of time when we're doing our forecasting, and instead of contacting Billy or Kate every time I need to know something about a particular account, I can easily look that up, and it's made our time together a lot more effective and efficient. So on that note, I just want to thank everybody again, and we will be sending out a thank you message with the link to the recording shortly. Debbie, thank you very much. You did an outstanding job. Really appreciate it.
Great. Thanks, Tom. Always a pleasure.
Okay. All right. On that note, we'll end the webcast. Thanks again for all your time and attention.
Thanks, everyone. Bye.